So something me and a few friends were talking about recently was the use of video games and movies in gaming, and mostly what we were talking about was using either movies as the basis, certain movies as the basis of a game or campaign, or possibly even using a particular setting borrowed from a video game as a backdrop or as a setting for a game that somebody is running, and I don't I don't particularly like doing it myself. That's not to say that somebody else couldn't or shouldn't, or that it's a bad idea in general. Because I've actually run through games like that, and I think it's mostly of benefit, or it's mostly, or the best, I should say, the best way to do it, the best time to do it would be if you have a group of players maybe who aren't familiar with the game, who aren't familiar with the movie. For example, a friend of mine, when I lived in Texas, actually used the movie Anaconda to run a game for a few people, and it was basically the same. It was the same as the movie Anaconda. People were down in the jungle. There were giant snakes all over the place and everything, and it was a little strange at first. Mostly, I think one of the problems that you might encounter would be if you're expecting the game to go a certain way, like if you want it to go the same way, or want the same things to happen the way they happened in the movie. That's probably not going to happen, because you're talking about a totally different set of people playing, who are most likely going to be different characters. That's assuming that, of course, you're allowing your you're allowing your players to make their own characters, and possibly bring new characters with different personalities into the storyline, into the campaign, that different than those that appeared in the movie itself. Using a particular video game setting as a backdrop, however, I have had some experience with that. As a matter of fact, a very, very good friend of mine, somebody I game with on a regular basis, who goes by Stryffe on online and everything. It's kind of a member of the family now, as it were. He actually used the setting of Final Fantasy XI, which, if I'm not mistaken, I'm not familiar with the game, I never played it. Final Fantasy XI, which is Final Fantasy Online, the world of Vana'diel, to run a 4th edition D&D game. Now, he was just using Vana'diel as again, like I said, as a backdrop, as a setting for the campaign that he wanted to run. And while the game itself had a very good storyline, and very good plot, and basically a very good campaign all the way through, I myself was at first, I should say, was constantly kind of iffy about the fact that I knew that he was using a setting, a world from a video game, that in order to run his world. And it's one of the problems I probably would have had with it, first and foremost, is probably because I'm really big on originality. A lot of times I get into a game, I sit down in a game and whatnot, and I don't care if the game is any good or not. Because I'm always looking for something original. It's kind of like what Ralph Bakshi said about anime, is that you can sit down and watch an anime, and a lot of times it doesn't matter. It may not be very good. It could be good. It may not be good. But when you're talking about anime, it's always different. It's always original. And so that was something that always stuck with me. And so that's something that I'm always looking for in a game and whatnot. But after a few sessions into this game that my friend was running, it actually turned out to be, from start to finish, a very, very good campaign. The plot and the characters were very well thought out, very well fleshed out, and it was obviously because he was very familiar. He was very familiar with this world, and the storyline, the overall storyline, and how our characters became involved and became a part of that storyline was very well done, and I think it's more credit to him as a GM, to him as a game master, because oftentimes he doesn't think he's a very good GM, and doesn't think that he can run a very good game. When in all actuality, that's not the case. He does. He actually did a very good job with it. Ultimately, what happens in a situation like that is that you have to be really, really careful and be really, really selective with how you're going to go about running a game like that. And I often told him my only gripe about the game, the only thing I could say bad about the game would be the fact that that it wasn't his own world. He did a wonderful job of describing everything. He did a wonderful job of giving everything giving everything life, giving everything personality, and he gave us some very, very vivid and colorful descriptions of everything we saw left and right, and it was a lot of fun because he was describing this amazingly rich fantasy world. And again, but unfortunately, I kept coming back to the fact that it wasn't his own world. It wasn't a world of his own creation. But at the same time, it was a world that he knew very well, and actually, it worked very well for him because he could run it so well. He could run it as well as he did, and so that was so he did a very, very, all in all, he did a very good job with it, to his credit and whatnot. And but again, this isn't the first time that something like this had happened. This isn't the first time that I've been in a game. I've been in a game like this. As a matter of fact, I've mentioned a few times before that one of my favorite game settings altogether is 7th Sea. And my friend Mary Beth, who got me into 7th Sea at first, when her first two games that she ran for us, me and Cassandra and a few other friends and everything, she ran. She basically ran us through. God, what was it? Cutthroat Island, Brotherhood of the Wolf, and there was one other movie, one other piratey, swashbuckling, high seas adventure type movie, and it wasn't too long, but also at the same time, this was back in. This was back in around 2003, 2004, 2004 thereabouts, and so when we started playing 7th Sea, and when she was running us basically through these pirate movies and everything as the backdrop for her game, and everything. In that instance, however, I think maybe it worked. It might have worked well because she wasn't running those. She wasn't running those particular that particular setting, if you will. It's slightly different. She was just using the movie, essentially the script of the movie, to as a plot, as an adventure, as basically as the basis of the campaign. The setting she was running was still Thea, was still the world of 7th Sea, and. To her credit, I should say, I can see how, looking back on it now, I can actually see how trying to incorporate something like that, trying to incorporate the two may have actually been difficult for her, and it seems like it was at times, trying to translate things and events that happened in these movies, which essentially happened on Earth back in the 1700s, whatever, to the 1600s of a fantasy world, a world entirely different from Earth, altogether, and so all in all, there she did a really good job. So I don't know if anybody else has experienced this or has run a game like this or been put through or been run through a game like this, and so that's kind of what I wanted to find out. Reach out to some other people and see if see what they have to say, good or negative to say about the about it, to see what their feelings are about using that as a game. So, do you enjoy? Do you not enjoy it? Why, if at all? If at all possible, throw that in there. Is it would it be a would it be like a would it be would you not enjoy it due to a lack of originality, perhaps on the or laziness on the part of the GM or the person who's running you through that game, or would you or do you think you'd actually be able to, or would you actually be able to enjoy it whether or not you've seen the movie or played the game, played the video game that the RPG is going to be based on? Would you enjoy going through that as a different character, seeing it through the eyes of a different character, actually experiencing it for yourself, kind of in a way, as most RPGs are, going having these wild, crazy adventures, experiencing them for ourselves from the safety of our own living rooms with our paper shields made, our character sheets as our shields, and our dice as our only weapons and our only equipment, things like that.
So, thanks again. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'm Gabriel Stryffe, coming at you from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Equitas Veritas Bellatus.